Committee is going to change their mind.
Okay.
And the rationale, other than we don't like revolving funds?
That some of the original reasons for requesting it are really no longer valid, that it's really not necessary, and that there are an awful lot of revolving accounts in town, and that the Finance Committee feels fairly strongly that a revolving account should be a necessity as opposed to another place to stash money. For example, it was absolutely required to have a revolving fund for the rec department. It's very important to have a revolving fund for the infrastructure for the water enterprise fund, but just going out and having revolving funds like that are probably not the best idea in the view of the Finance Committee.
Can we hear from Mr. Fair as to the rationale for requesting it? I think Martin's here.
Yeah.
Yes, he is. Mr. Fair, could you come to the podium, please? Do you understand the question that?
Yes,
Mr. Fair asked?
the last time I was before the board and talked about it, we talked about the funds that were brought in through flu and pneumonia shots. And Mr. Prisco asked if we could depend upon that revenue every year, and I said no. And one of the reasons was because our allotment of flu vaccine last fall was cut, and the state required us to give preference to the uninsured and the underinsured. But if we had a revolving fund, we could actually, that was capitalized, we could actually purchase vaccine and be reimbursed for that. It also makes it easier for us to account for and use grant monies that we might receive through emergency preparedness in our bioterrorism coalitions. So it just makes the accounting and the expenditure of the monies more convenient.
Mr. Prisco.
So, Mrs. Hurlbut, do you have a recommendation if we vote this down, we don't do this, do you have a recommendation for the health department on how they handle this particular challenge they have, where they may particularly, they possibly could get a grant, or they could have some revenues from these vaccinations?
Are we looking to put what's the cap going to be on this? Do we know, Greg? Is
No.
what's being recommended?
I haven't
Did
seen
normally
that
we cap revolving?
I haven't seen it yet. I know there is
Right,
supposed to be a
there
cap
is.
that's established under the warrant article.
We never
The
talked about
the last time the warrant article was proposed, it was $25,000. $15,000 would be fine.
Yeah, this one I don't think has one yet.
The amount of money isn't all that important. I have some, programs in mind that would like to utilize some of the funds for and be able to, in turn, replace those funds. But $15,000 would be fine.
I guess my question is this, and I clearly understand the issue that occurred. You couldn't get the drugs that you needed, the vaccinations you needed, and therefore you had to limit who got it. And if there was money in the fund, you could have gone out and purchased some vaccination material, and we do charge for that anyway. Was there another way of obtaining funds to purchase vaccine?
No, not that I know of.
I mean, you
We
could have
have
gone
to
to the
be able-
Finance Committee.
Okay, I could have asked, yeah.
What do you mean?
Possible.
The state was unforeseen that the state cut back on
Right,
this,
yeah.
therefore we want to offer.
I'm just
it.
thinking
Yeah.
that, we offered that service, and he was limited because he couldn't acquire the vaccine. And if there's another way of doing it, maybe we don't need the revolving fund.
Right.
In terms of grants and everything, they come in directly. Can't they be spent directly?
Jim?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
don't
that's what I
see a
was thinking,
restriction.
maybe they actually could have Finance Committee maybe assist Mr. Fair in dealing with this issue.
Mrs. Hurlbut.
I cannot imagine that if there were a problem in the community paying for vaccine for our seniors, that the finance committee would very seriously consider reserve fund transfer. We were never asked.
No, I understand.
And North Reading was also one of the early towns in Massachusetts, basically, that ran out of vaccine.
That didn't, what, I couldn't hear, I'm sorry.
Everyone ran out of vaccine.
Yeah.
No one
Yeah.
could get it.
But then they became almost a glut. And
Yeah,
all of a
hoarding.
sudden, there became an awful lot
That
of
was
it
a couple of
available.
years ago. Last year, there
Later
wasn't
on.
an issue.
Yes, once the state found that they had a surplus in the budget, the Department of Public Health asked for a certain amount of money from that surplus to purchase additional vaccine.
Right.
Eventually, sometime after the flu clinics were held, there was vaccine available.
What I'd recommend is that we hold off on this, wait for the Finance Committee to determine whether or not they're going to support the request, and we'll vote on it at our next meeting. It's in time for,
I
going to
guess,
press,
you know,
right, Greg, or not?
What's that? Finance Committee meets tomorrow,
Yeah.
and we'll be meeting again on the
Yeah.
7th.
I don't necessarily disagree with the overall philosophy that the Finance Committee has been sticking to for a number of years as far as the revolving funds. But there are certain instances, and this one is as small as it is, being proposed at $15,000 or $25,000 to cap it at, to allow for an immediate reaction to a situation such as the vaccine, to let the health department just handle it and work it. I mean, you're not talking about a revolving fund like the recreation
Yeah.
department, which is,
Which is no longer.
$100,000. You know, this is a small amount to allow them to react to certain programs and grants monies. We may have to put money up front in order to initiate something from a public health standpoint. It just simplifies it rather than just saying it was an unforeseen expense and, we'd like to apply for this grant to, we have to put the money up front and go to the Finance Committee from the reserve fund. Again, if it's capped and maintained at a low level, I think it's something that just makes things a little more workable within town hall. Some instances, it tends to make sense. Again, philosophically, I'm in tune with the Finance Committee and pretty much in agreement. But there are circumstances where we need to allow our departments to react quickly, take advantage of situations, and rather than have to go to the Finance Committee for a reserve fund transfer for something that came up, and you're talking $15,000 of money that we may raise or may not, depending upon the level of activity, say with the vaccinations. So,
Well, I'll entertain a motion for,
again, I'm not in favor, I'm not opposed to waiting to
Yeah.
give our recommendation, but I'd just like to weigh in right now that,
so this is the last article we haven't made a recommendation for?
Yes, so the others you either held.
No, we have two more.
Yeah,
No, this one and nine as
yeah,
well.
right, I understand. I'm talking about the last one.
Okay. Sorry.
So I'm okay with, holding off right now on our recommendation, but I really think we should seriously consider
Okay.
the
We'll
circumstances as
Put this
presented.
on our agenda for our next meeting. It's
Yeah.
our last chance to do this. Those that are interested, the last article in the warrant is Article 24, the one we're just discussing. And I think there's 9, if I'm correct, reauthorizations of revolving funds, which means it's the smallest town warrant we've had in a long time. That being said, I would encourage all listening this evening and those in attendance to come to town meeting, which is only a month away. Mr. Delaney.
If we're concluded discussion on Article 24, can we go back to Article 14? And if someone can explain to me what is meant by this document that appears on page, I believe, 4 of our supplement that we received. It looks like it's a memo from the Energy Study Committee. And it looks like this recommending Phase 4, and they have suggested funding sources. I just don't know how that coincides, if at all, with Article 14.
Well, it says right on top, Article 14. This is the first I've seen it since we just got it. I didn't have a chance to look at it. So.
Article 14 for those in the audience, is the fund additional energy conservation projects.
Mr. Chair?
Mr. Yule?
Sean, thank you for bringing that up. I hadn't seen this document myself, and what they're really saying here, again, I will speak with John, and hopefully we can, I know we voted on it, but hopefully we can relook at this next week, based on my conversation with John, because it looks like they're looking to have these funds to do some projects between now and October. And in October, they have some other
Yeah,
plans that
Those
they,
represent town meeting votes.
some other plans that they're looking at. So if it's okay with you, I'd like to revisit this next meeting if
Well,
that's possible.
we certainly can
Sure.
revisit it, but now I'm confused.
Yeah, it looks like, based on this proposal here, the source of funding is appropriations which have already been raised and appropriated at the October 09, April
10.
10,
Right.
and
That's it.
October 11 town meeting.
That's
the
it.
monies
So funds are
already
available.
Right.
So those are available funds.
That's why we're passing
right
it
now.
out.
So their initiatives, as proposed, are going to be funded by allocations that are already available.
Right.
So there's no need to raise and appropriate anything more at this point.
So then by passing over, we're not,
I guess the question is, do we need an article
right,
to approve the funding of specific tasks that were already approved? Because it
yeah,
looks
I
like
would
they...
think not.
I would say
but-
no.
Right,
No, in other words, this is
Okay.
kind of their
Okay.
initiative. They're saying this is what's on their plate, their phase 4, and this is the suggested funding source, which is through money that's already been raised and appropriated or allocated.
Mr. Prisco?
Just so the people sitting out here and the people watching at home, make sure I understand it. So the funding source already been approved at town meeting, $18,484. And what they're doing, they're requesting a phase 4 of projects, which total $18,073.
Meaning there's been enough money approved. The dates of approval, and there've been different amounts, $246 must be left from the October 09 October
Yeah.
town meeting. April
10,
2010 town meeting is $313.85 left over. October of 2011, $355.60 left over. And then October, again of October, there was $17,569 that is also available, has not been spent.
so I guess.
So it looks like most of the funds
Are
for this
it's
were
covered.
approved in
Right.
October.
So I guess the question that I have is, why are we talking about it? It seems like.
The article, yeah.
It seems
Well, no,
like.
it was in our meeting.
No, yeah, I think there's just some confusion as to, there was an initiative put forth that we got tonight in our supplement of
Right.
over $18,000 with a suggested funding source, but again, we just got this late.
Right.
I think
So
the town
before we pass
administrator
anything
said,
over, we certainly don't want to,
What made it confusing me for me was it says Article 14 on it, and I think if that wasn't on it, I think it wouldn't have had so
no,
much
but I think
confusion.
maybe Greg put it in as a reference to
I
why
did.
I wanted to
It's
pass
me.
over Article 14.
It's me.
No, not a problem.
Because what was reported to me, the finance committee indicated that all those monies are already spoken for prior votes, as Selectmen already pointed out.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, are we done with the budget? Any other budget items? Our next meeting is next Monday night.
that was quick.
I'm informed that the budget hearing's May 21st. Excuse me, the warrant article hearing. So all of the discussion about warrant articles will be on the 21st.
Just prior to our meeting. Prior to town meeting, a couple of weeks
You can be
before.
out there.
Okay, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
We'll hear a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Prisco. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.